Hello everyone, welcome to my it's either 7th or 8th update for Pando's eyeshadows. This project was created by Alexie. I'm going to leave her channel in my description box. But what this project is, as the title suggests, it is an eyeshadow panning project. Different people do it differently, but the way I do it is I randomly select 5 eyeshadows from my entire collection, and my goal is to hit pan on them. And once I did that, I can roll in a different eyeshadow in their place. And yeah, I keep the 5 eyeshadow number at all times. So yeah, let's just get into the update. But as always, I just wanted to remind you yet again that the war in Ukraine is still happening. So if you would like to help, I'm going to leave a few organizations you could donate to in the description box. Any help means a lot, so if you do donate, thank you so much. Yeah, let's just move on to the update. Oh, and if my voice sounds a little weird, I've been sick for the past week and a half, so that's that. But let's just get into the eyeshadows. So the first eyeshadow I'm going to talk about comes from the Nomad by Juvia's Place. This eyeshadow has been in this project the longest. I've used it 13 times in total, and here is what it's looking like today. So I hope you can see I managed to hit pan on it, which is very exciting. Oh, and this is, since these eyeshadows don't have any names, I have it in my spreadsheet as Nomad number 8, because it's like the 8th eyeshadow in this palette. But yeah, here's what it looks like swatched out. It's just like your basic dark brown matte. Yeah, I'm very happy to finally be able to roll this palette out, because I'm honestly getting a little sick of it. It's a nice palette, but it's nothing too crazy. It's very neutral for my liking, I guess. I mean, I like neutrals, just maybe not necessarily these kinds. I don't know what I'm saying. It's a pretty palette, but I guess I'm not that excited about this color story right now, so yeah, very glad I'll be rolling this out. We're going to roll in a new shade in its replacement later on. So yeah, let's just move on to the next shadow. Right, so the second shadow I'm going to talk about comes from my ColourPop That's Taupe palette. The shade that I have currently in this project from this palette is called Snake Eyes. I've used Snake Eyes 9 times, and here is what it's looking like today. As you can see, I have not hit pan on it just yet, but it has a pretty good dip in it already, which is pretty exciting. It's a very lovely kind of taupey shimmer. It has a little bit of like gray, not grayness, kind of purpliness to it, but I think you can pick it up only if you look at it with other shades from this palette, because swatched out, here it is swatched out by the way, it looks just like a taupe. It's very pretty, it's very sparkly, and I like it a lot. So yeah, I'm very happy that I got to roll this palette in, because I really like it. If I go for neutrals, it's usually taupes or like yeah, I think taupe is my go-to neutral tone. So yeah, very happy to have this palette in, so I'm not really in a rush to roll it out. So yeah, this is going to be staying, so let's move on to the next shade. And the third eyeshadow I currently have in my color story comes from Menagerie times Annette Serenity palette. The shade that I have from this palette is called Chrysalis. I've used it 12 times in total, and here is what it's looking like today. I hope you can see I did manage to hit pan on it, which is very exciting. Here is what it looks like swatched out. It's a very, very pretty sparkly fuchsia, I think, shimmer. I've been really enjoying using it, and just this whole palette in general. I think it's so much fun. And yeah, this palette and this eyeshadow are going to be rolling out, which I'm kind of sad because I really been enjoying using this, but we just gotta make room for a new shadow. So yep, let's just talk about the last two shades. Okay, so the first shadow that I have currently in my project comes from my KKW Beauty Camo palette, and the shade that I have from this palette is called Army. I've used Army 2 times, which is not great, but it's been rolled into this project last update, so that's my excuse. But yeah, here is what it's looking like today. As you could imagine, it doesn't look that different after 2 uses. It has like, it doesn't really have a dip. It's just, it has, I don't know, it's not really a dip, but you can tell that I've used it, so that's nice. Here's what it looks like swatched out. It's I would say sagey green shimmer. It's very pretty. Yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Yeah, I'm very happy to have this palette in this project. I haven't used it that much when I had it rolled in, but these shades are really good quality, so I've been really enjoying having it around. Yeah, so because this shade doesn't have a pan yet, we're going to keep it in, and let's just talk about the last shade that I currently have in my rotation. And finally, the last eyeshadow I'm going to talk about comes from my Focus palette, which is the Balm Meat Matte Nude. And the shade that I have from this palette in this project is called Matte Lombardi. I've rolled it in together with Army, which was last update, and I've used it 6 times since then, and here's what it's looking like today. So as you can see, there's no pen, but it does have a dip in it, although it did have a dip already when I rolled it in, but I think it got a little deeper. I'll have to just check my progress pictures. But yeah, that's where we are today. Here's what it looks like swatched out, if you can even see it. It's just like a yellowy toned, very light transition shade. It's not the most exciting shade, but I just want to hit pan in all of the shades from this palette because it's my oldest palette, and it needs to be used up already. So yeah, I just have to power through it. Because it's a little too dark for me to set my lid, which I don't even do normally, I've just been using it as like a blending out shade for like warm browns, which has been going pretty well. So I guess it has its purpose, but because it's like so yellow toned, it doesn't really work with all colors as like a more bone colored matte would, like a lighter matte. So I'm kind of limited in my uses, or limited to the ways I could use it. So Yeah, I feel like it's going to take me some time to hit pan in it, but oh well. You have to do what you gotta do. So yeah, this palette, or I mean this shade, is going to stay in this project for now. Yeah, let's just get to the probably most exciting part of all these updates, which is rolling in new shades. Okay, so I have my pretty random app pulled up. My minimum is 1 and my maximum is 12.59. My numbers changed a little bit because I decluttered 2 palettes and then I brought in 5 new ones into my collection. Not all of them were new, one of them my mom decluttered to me, and the other 4 I went to TG Maxx. And those of you who've been to not TG Maxx, I meant Marshalls. And those of you who have been to Marshalls, you know how it is. I have pretty good deals there and I couldn't resist it, so here we are. But yeah, we're going to be rolling in 2 new numbers to replace 2 shades from these 2 palettes. So let's just get into it. I'm very excited. So the first number that we're going to have will be 264. Okay, and the next one is going to be 675. Okay, I'm going to go look what those are. If somehow one of these shades already has pan in it, I'm just going to come back and we are going to re-roll for that one shade. But other than that, I'm just gonna go grab the new shadows and I will come back and show them to you. Okay, so I have my 2 new eyeshadows. Both of them are eligible to be rolled in, so let me just show you them. So the first number we rolled in was number 264, and 264 comes from my Estate Baileysarian Venice Fling palette, which has already been in this project. This is the first palette for this. This is the first palette this year that has been in this project twice, which is very interesting. So the shade that we rolled in is called Roller Skates, and I think Roller Skates is the purple metallic shade. So let's just look. Yep, I was right. Here is Roller Skates. It's not my favorite purple in my collection. It's like this palette, its shimmers aren't the best, maybe except for like Venice Fling and Ocean Avenue. And I don't know, Soul, I don't really remember what it looks like, but these 2 in particular, they're very much satin shades, if I'm being honest. So not the best, but it's a cool color, so we'll make it work. And yeah. And yeah, as you can see, this palette already has pan, which we hit this during this year's project. So this is, I think, the first palette that I rolled in, with the exception of my my Focus palette that already had pan in it prior to me rolling it in. Although it's my second time rolling it in, so not really. Anyway, Roller Skates. Let's just talk about the next shade I rolled in, which comes from my Flower Beauty Jungle Lights palette. And this palette has a clear packaging, so I kind of know what shade it is already. But the shade that we rolled in, it's under number 675 in my spreadsheet, and it's called Wild. And I'm pretty excited for this one because Wild is this beautiful shimmer. It's like a mauvey sort of mid-toned shimmer. It's very, very pretty. Yeah, very excited to have this palette in this project because I honestly don't use it as much as I would like to. And it has very good quality shimmers, which is, I don't know, which is great. Yeah. So let me just swatch out my new color story and I'm going to show you it. Okay, so I swatched everything out and here's what my new color story looks like. Very shimmer heavy. I wouldn't say it's like the most creativity inducing. That's not the right way to say it, but I hope you know what I mean. Color selection, but it's still quite pretty. So let me just remind you what each of the shades is. So at the top here we have Snake Eyes from ColourPop, that's dope. Just below it is Army from KKW Camo palette. Then we have Matte Lombardi from The Balm Meet Matte Nude. And then we have our two new roll-ins, roller skates from Bailey Sarian times Estate Venus Flame palette. And we have Wild, right? Yes, Wild from Flower Beauty Jungle Lights palette. Yeah. So I think the first thing that I noticed about this new color story is how well Snake Eyes and Wild, like how similar they are in terms of undertone. So maybe we can do like something with these two. And that's about it. I don't know what else. I guess it's not going to be the kind of color story in which I'm going to use a lot of the shades together, but yeah, that's what we have. Here's how it looks like in comparison to my old color story. I think the old one looks a little more cohesive, but yeah, that's what we have to work with for next month, and I think that is all I'm going to say about that. And let's just move on to the goals I have for the next month. And also I always forget to talk about that in like a proper way, but I guess my goals for the entire year. So let's just get into that. Okay, so for the next month, I think I would like to hit pan on Snake Eyes because it's now the oldest shade in my whole color story, I guess. And maybe together with it I could try to hit pan on Wild, because I've heard that these Flower Beauty shadows are pretty malleable, so the kind of sort of like Super Shock shadows from ColourPop, if you're familiar with those. So it shouldn't be that hard to hit pan. Yeah, and I guess with the rest just make some kind of progress. Yeah, and when it comes to my yearly or this year's goals, as I mentioned in my last update and hopefully in most of my updates, my goal for the year is to have 50 pens in my collection. And if you follow my project, you know that last update I managed to hit that goal. And now, as of this update, I currently have 52 pens in my collection, so the numbers are going up, which is pretty exciting. And I was thinking maybe of raising my goal a little bit, so there is something to work towards. So I think I'm going to say that by the end of the year I would like to have 60 pans in my collection, just since we already have 50 and 52 actually, so to hit 8 more pans shouldn't be that hard. So yeah, I guess that is all I'm going to say, so let's just wrap up this video. Alright everyone, so thank you so much for watching. Check out my description box for Alexie's channel and for organizations to donate to. But other than that, oh my god, I'm getting tongue-tied. Other than that, thank you again so much for watching. I hope you're doing good, and take care. Bye.